Right. So in part two, we're starting off with the penultimate quiz of the World Cup, and this one's a short one. We'll do one big crazy quiz just focused on the World Cup 22 edition after the final. So just six questions, guys. As we mentioned, Mbappe and Messi fighting for the title and the golden ball as well. Who was the last person to actually win it and actually be part of the winning side in the World Cup as well?
Golden
Fabio
ball.
Cannavaro.
Oh yeah.
No.
Fabio Can.
Oh,
No?
Pogba. No.
N'Golo Kante.
Nope. None
No,
of
no.
them
Modric won
won
it.
the.
Modric won it last
Yeah,
time.
yeah. None of these
Modric.
guys
Who's
won the golden ball.
who was this 2000? Oh, it was Iniesta or Xavi. Xavi or Iniesta.
Uh-uh.
Which World
Okay,
Cup?
so then it's Germany, guys. Who in Germany won the golden ball?
तो मेसी था ना गोल्डन बॉल.
No, Germany won. No. Messi was. not
Yeah,
the golden.
it's in the
Zidane
90s.
98.
No.
That's what I thought.
Go back just a little bit more.
Cafu.
No.
94. Rivaldo. No.
Getting close, but
Oh, wait. Arey yaar.
at least you're getting into the right positions on the pitch.
It has to be
Yeah.
a famous striker, Romario.
Yes, it is
Romario.
Romario. Romario is the last guy who's actually won the golden ball and also finished with the World Cup winners medal. Okay. So, which team has set the record for maximum exits at the quarterfinal stage?
England.
England, yes. How many?
8.
Pretty close, 7. So,
Six.
England have exited the World Cup at the quarterfinal stage 7 times. Okay, you guys remember the Netherlands Argentina quarterfinal for reasons apart from Wout Weghorst as well. How many yellow cards were shown in that game? That's a record.
18.
Indeed, spot on, RK.
What a
Yes.
tukka.
That was a Tielemans
a-
strike from 35 yards.
Probably a fluke too.
As of now, 3 players have scored in the last 3 World Cups. So, including this one, in the last 3 players have scored. Can you name them? 2 of them are pretty obvious.
Messi.
Yeah.
Messi and
Ronaldo.
Cristiano Ronaldo.
Yeah. And the third one
Perisic.
is nope. This guy played for Liverpool, doesn't play for them anymore.
Ooh, damn.
Oh, damn, indeed.
Suarez didn't score.
Suarez.
Didn't score this time round.
Played for Liverpool. Listen.
Played for Liverpool. Doesn't play anymore.
For them anymore. I think he's in Turkey, if I'm not mistaken, but that might be too big of a hint. Probably
Shaqiri.
for Radha.
He didn't score. Origi is not in this
Knocked
World
out
Cup.
by Gonzalo Ramos.
Shaqiri.
Yes,
Oh, God.
Shaqiri.
Arey, I said Shaqiri just a
Oh.
moment back.
Oh, sorry. And
Are you on your AirPods too?
listeners, that's a sneak peek behind the stage for you. We've been wondering about Ashwin's audio for the last 30 minutes. Okay, who does Messi now share the record with for most appearances in the World Cup? And this is the question that I was irritated about, that the totally guys mentioned this in their episode yesterday, because I like, shit, whoever's listened to this will be able to answer it.
Peter Shilton? No.
No. It's 25 appearances, so all going well, if he plays in the final, which we hope he does, he'll take the record outright.
Manuel Neuer?
No, so it has to be someone.
Has to be someone, definitely.
Oh,
In the-
no. I listened to the podcast. It's the
Lothar
German.
Matthäus.
It's Lothar
Yes,
Matthäus.
it is Lothar Matthäus.
Oh.
And finally, last question. I'm going back to history again. Which Italian manager will Didier Deschamps be looking to emulate on Sunday by winning back-to-back titles as a manager? It's only happened
Sachi.
once.
Uh, Fabio Capello.
Huh?
No,
When
no,
did
no.
Fabio Capello win
It was
one
in the
World Cup?
third, in
Oh,
the
back to
I think
60s.
back.
34 and
Back,
38. 34 and
Yeah,
back to
38.
back.
yeah.
Yeah.
This guy's been mentioned quite a lot recently. Ever since
Uh,
the French got to the final, he's been in um, how do you call it? In the
Well,
spotlight.
I
But
never remember that
yeah,
name as
it's this guy's called Vittorio Pozzo, and his record, which has stood for more than 80 years, is now finally under threat. Let's
Yeah,
see if
I
Messi
think
and
the
Co can do
19
something about that.
I think the 1934 World Cup is more your time than our time, Swag.
So is the 38 one, to be fair. But yeah, I think the 38 one was marred by quite a lot of controversies because of the fact that Mussolini was in power and there were allegations of favoritism and stuff like that. So no different from modern football then. Anyway, so moving on finally to the final preview. France versus Argentina. We had these two teams meet each other in the 2018 World Cup as well. That was a good one, 4-3 if I remember correctly. I don't think it's going to be 4-3 this time round, even though I wouldn't mind one. How are we reading this one?
I think the it's going to be really strange. Both teams don't like to keep the ball. I guess it might be something like the Morocco-France game where one of them is forced into dominating the play and dictating the play. Um, my head is saying France on this one for all the reasons I mentioned in the last episode. I think they are more diverse. They can hit you in a lot of ways. I don't think the fact that Messi is not doing enough work is going to hurt Argentina this time because France also, I don't think Mbappe does a lot of work either. So it's going to be effectively a 9 on 9 or a 10 on 10 game. So it's going to be really interesting. I think France have more people who can hurt Argentina than I think Argentina have who can hurt France. I count Mbappe and Usman, of course, in that list, but I think Griezmann is shining star for France as well. He's playing almost like a Pogba role from the previous World Cup, where he's pretty much playing well within himself. And when I say role, I don't mean literally, but he's playing well within himself and just doing it for the rest of his teammates to really shine. I think he's going to be a difference maker as well. He's that really tough to mark guy who plays in the space between the midfield and the striker and keeps drifting from side to side. So I think they have a lot more weaponry to attack Argentina with, and Argentina have been one of the best defensive teams in the World Cup. But I think there's only so much you can plan and execute against the likes of Mbappe and Dembele.
yeah, I agree with Radha. I think this game is we're probably billing it as Messi versus Mbappe, but it's going to be more Griezmann versus how Argentina handle him because he's a drifter, right? Like so, they really need to watch his runs. I think in the previous game as well, not the Morocco one, the one before that, he was the one who provided the assist to Giroud, and so like. I think Argentina would really need to track his runs really well. Um, one stat that I wanted to bring up from the previous two games is that both Argentina and France actually had lesser possession than their opponents. So like they are the kind of teams that like to uh, wait and watch what the opponent is doing, and then they shift gears and then hit them. Not on the counter, but they hit them back where when it hurts them the most. So they can't both do that in this game, right? Like one will have to take the initiative. So it will be interesting to see who does that. Of course, from at the start of the World Cup, we were saying probably Brazil, Argentina, and France are the favorites to win this. We have got two of those three in the final. So from that respect, I think it's great to have the heavyweights in the final, but also equally they haven't really set the world alight with their attacking prowess as such. So it will be a bit of a tactical game, and it will probably be um, who blinks first, and then we'll one goal will probably open up the game a bit more.
Yeah, I think Griezmann, one more thing that he has done really well is he always is on that edge of the box, which you wouldn't expect, a number 10 to be on the edge of his own box, I mean. So whenever attacks from Morocco and England were, coming through into the box, it was always Griezmann who had a high number of interceptions and clearances, which is pretty unusual. That shows the work rate that Griezmann has. One weakness that has been exploited for France, as Radha said in the previous two games, has been that the fact that Mbappe doesn't really track at all. So the left back, like Hernandez, has had to do a whole lot of work there, and he's also often got outnumbered. So it's interesting to see what approach Argentina will take. They will definitely, knowing Scaloni, try to exploit that. But being, safety first, I think they would again try to go with a three at the back and a wing back formation to, try and hurt France there.
And for the midfield, what combination do you think is going to work best for both teams, right? Because we know that Argentina depend quite a lot on Messi for their counters, but the game's probably going to be decided in the midfield. Now, you talked about Griezmann, you've talked about how these two teams going to be set up. So that's the battle, right? We have the supposedly Irish McAllister there. Does he keep his place? Is it going to be is going to be Paredes who comes in? I'm just confused about what tack both managers are going to take. I think France seem more unlikely to switch personnel, but Argentina I think can probably rotate a bit.
So
One thing.
Well, I think rotate is the wrong word. You don't rotate for the final, but I think they'll end up going with the same teams that they went with. Well, barring injuries, of course. I think both teams will end up going with the same teams they went with in the semi-final. If anything changes, it would be Argentina, and that I think also points to the fact that France are the ones who have more to fear than Argentina. So if you look at this game and see a manager trying to take a selection call to negate some of the opposition players, it's 100% going to be Argentina rather than the other way around. So I do expect, though, that they will go with the same formation and again try to be more direct through the center like they were against Croatia, against France as well. Konate, I thought, was really good for France, but I'm hearing that he's got a little bit of the bug as well. So that's one to look out for. But overall, I do think that France have enough on their bench to make up for any potential health issues. But I'm really looking forward to Benzema. If he can play some part in the game, that will be really cool. But yeah, I mean, I think for Argentina, a lot of things revolve around Messi, but for France, not so much, like Ashwin was saying.
Yeah, so Radha, you mentioned injuries and then, correctly pointed out. So I think it's all about illnesses right now for France and how many of them will be available. They would definitely want to go back to that chemistry that they had in midfield with Rabiot. We have to see whether he's going to be fit enough. I think centre backs, they will find the right people out of the selection that they have. But coming to Argentina, the real trump card up their sleeve, which they haven't used so far, he's also had fitness issues with Di Maria. And when you combine it with the fact that France have this weakness defending on the left flank, and the work rate that he has off the ball, it for me it would have been really intriguing to see Di Maria start the match. But considering that Argentina went into the last match with four midfielders, it would be a stretch to imagine them going with a 3-4-3, which would effectively mean like two center midfielders. So I don't expect Di Maria to start, but definitely off the bench, I think he will make an appearance in this game, and that will be one of the turning points that Argentina can use. However, I do feel Lisandro Martinez will start this game, and they will go with three at the back.
Don't you? So I have a question for you then, Arcade. Given how Morocco went with three at the back and things were not really looking great for them to start off with, and then when they went to four at the back, suddenly they got all the control in the game back. Do you think that is something that will play on the mind of the manager? And considering how effective they were against Croatia as well, do you think he'll just go with a similar formation?
Yeah, so definitely it will be something that plays on his mind, and it won't be an easy decision for him. However, I still feel, while you were right about the selection of centre backs, like selecting injured players, I don't think three at the back in itself was, a wrong, was a wrong formation. Morocco, for me, immediately after the goal started playing well, even with the three at the back, and it was Saiss who was letting them down, and not exactly the formation. Uh, the four in mid that Argentina selected was also because of the midfield dominance that Croatia have. Given that France don't really want the ball and they're not likely to dominate position, I don't think four in the mid makes sense. I do feel they will go with a three in the mid and three at the back formation.
Yeah, just one point on Kylian Mbappe. He was 19 when he won the World Cup for the first time. He can likely be a two-time World Cup winner at the age of 23. I mean, if that carries on like this, he might be the only guy to rival Pele's legacy by the time he retires.
Yeah, I think that's besides the World Cup record. I think, given how good he is and how young he is, I think that's a fair comparison anyway. He's already had a winning role at a World Cup, and regardless of what happens on Sunday, a final again, consecutive finals is something that only the likes of Pele have done in the past. So he is central to everything that's going to happen. I'm really looking forward to the strategy that Argentina employed to try and stop him. That image of him getting past Amrabat and then the sliding defender and then just blasting to the wing. I think he's the most unstoppable player, the most undefendable player when like at any stage of any game. So that's something that I'm really looking forward to seeing how Argentina deal with it. Whatever they throw at him, though, I'm sure he's going to find a way. He may not be there all through the game. Like the last couple of games, Mbappe has not been central to everything France did, but he has those moments. And the second goal, which killed the game, was all him. Yeah, of course, the dribble and the shot/pass into the box ended it. But even the turn before that, where he just brought the fullback into play and then got the ball back and then did his magic. I think he's an outstanding player. He's a really exciting player. When he and Messi get on the ball, I'm going to be at the edge of my seat, gripping the sofa for sure.
So rather, he may be a great player, and he would likely win his second World Cup. But I think in order to be one of the best players, he would want to, win a Premier League. So next year when he joins Liverpool and the Qataris own their second Premier League club, maybe we can talk about Mbappe and the legacy he has left behind.
We've got a pretty great world-beating striker already, Ashwin. Don't you worry about that.
Yeah, so Bellingham, Mbappe, who else? I mean, the supposed Qatari owners have a pretty long shopping list ready to go for Liverpool. Looks
Maybe
like it.
maybe Guardiola as well.
You can't end like you can't stop talking about Mbappe without talking in this match without talking about Messi. Whatever narratives you build, whatever tactical matchups we talk about, at the end of the day, it's going to be Mbappe versus Messi. It's a man on his last legs against a guy who still has 10, 12 years of peak career in front of him. So I mean just that that contest of these two heavyweights is and I think it's perfect for Qatar as well. It's right up their ball street, up their street and what they would have wanted. PSG Qatari club having two PSG players, what more do they want?
What are you suggesting, RK?
I think we already suggested what we had to suggest when Radha said what he said at the end of last episode. I had someone ask me what that means because they weren't able to understand Hindi.
I
So,
Were they Qatari nationals?
I hope not.
It's not
Right.
often that a guy from Chennai has been accused of saying something in Hindi that other people can't understand. But anyway,
Right. So we also have the third, fourth place game. And do you think that these teams are going to be taking it seriously, particularly Croatia, considering they already finished runners-up in the last World Cup? Is it that crucial for them? It is Modric's last bow at the world stage, but I think Morocco will probably be more interested and enthusiastic about this one, and Croatia might just take it easily.
I think Morocco definitely are going to be the team that takes it more seriously. But that being said, Modric wants to go out on a high. I think the world wants to see him go out on a high. A lot of the narrative around Messi, and of course, Messi is 100x of anything that the narrative will be on Modric. But the whole world wants to see Modric do well and eventually go out on a high. So I don't think that image of him walking off, being tired and walking off at the end of the last game is the image that people would be satisfied by thinking back of him. By the way, I think the only guy who broke that Messi Ronaldo Ballon d'Or jinx. So it's going to be something that Croatia will be forced to take seriously. Maybe the players will play for Modric and something of that sort. I think they will take it a little bit seriously. But at the end of the day, it's a third place playoff. I don't think we take it seriously either.
Yeah, on top of that, with having gone through so much and given so much, Morocco tactically might be a bit more unhinged than they were, right? They might be a bit looser and more trying to attack more. At the same time, the injuries that they have probably won't help them when you take into account Croatia's experience in these kind of matches. So, as you guys said, it's like a third place is probably the least consequential match, but it's also one of the more exciting matches. So, I mean, more than what exactly happens, I think both these teams are already heroes for what they have done in this World Cup. So it will be more about the entertainment and who scores more goals, hopefully.
I think Morocco will definitely take it seriously, right? They it's uh, they're probably carrying the weight of the Arab nations with them as well, and I think that will be the motivating factor. Previous editions of this third, fourth place playoff, we have seen managers bring on some of the players who have not had the chance to play in this World Cup. So you'll probably see some of those subs and the 26-man squad that you were talking about earlier, Swag. Some of those players get a chance here as well. I think Croatia will probably use more of their substitutes or their reserve players than Morocco. I think there's a lot to play for Morocco, so I'm hoping to for them to get the third place. Croatia won't make it easy for them, but the fact that this is the third, fourth place playoff might mean that Morocco get it.
Given the number of injuries that Morocco have, I think they're already using that 26-man squad. I don't think they'll have much of a choice. But yeah, here's hoping for a great Morocco victory. I think it'll mean more to them than it does to Croatia, like you said, Swag. Second place already. So let's all go for a Morocco win.
Yeah, and I think we'll also get the decider for best goalkeeper of the tournament between Livakovic and Bono. Whoever wins this will probably take that. I'm just hoping that this goes to 6-6 and then penalties, and both of them get a chance to show off their skills again.
I think Swag, someone named Martinez might have something to say if the final goes into shootouts.
Yeah, I don't think France want to go into a shootout considering that Lloris doesn't have that good a record. I think they have the firepower. Right, to close off with.
Tell Kane about that, Swag.
So, closing question from me before we wrap up. What do you guys think about? So, almost every manager has stepped down after the World Cup, after they got knocked out of the World Cup, except one very high profile manager, Gareth Southgate. He's still not stepped down. What do you guys think? And there's a huge debate about it being the next manager being English or not English. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm particularly very confused about this Englishness debate. This seems like it's harking back to old days that we should only be looking
Yeah.
at people from England. First of all, it's like Gareth, you take your time and then you decide if you want to continue or not. You can have a sabbatical if you want. It's just too much theater for me. And if you want to win the World Cup, if that is what you've been looking for, you are probably the only nation who keeps making songs about stuff like that. Just get the best guy you can, right? The best guy who makes best use of your talents. Why fuss so much about their nationality when you have had foreign managers before?
I think England have been through this before, right? I remember after Sven-Göran Eriksson, there was this huge clamor, or maybe it was Fabio Capello, I'm forgetting it now. But there was this huge clamor about having an English manager who can who does not need a translator, or like who can get his message across. And then they got Roy Hodgson at some point as well. Like it was just I mean, that was probably one of the worst England teams to ever watch, I think. So I really don't get this English, non-English debate. I think Gareth Southgate, I think this World Cup, he has kind of proven that he can also play an attacking formation, which was the one main thing that was leveled against him. So to me, if I were an England supporter, which I I think I am, I would give him a bit more time, probably till the Euros, and then maybe take a call. But I don't think there is any need to make any changes as far as the manager of England is concerned.
Wow, I can't disagree more. But I'm reminded of that
I mean,
tweet that
who would you take as the England manager?
literally anybody else, I would say at this
But
Graham
no,
stage.
Potter, just fire him from Chelsea, which is going to happen in a few months
but
because
Please,
there is
please don't fire him.
but
Just take him away. At least let Chelsea get some money from a manager's outgoing, right? We
but no,
we are
but
always
then
the ones who pay.
but I think Gareth Southgate has done okay. He isn't. I'm not saying he has set the world on fire or anything, but he's done okay. We don't. If you have any great managers out there who can take England to the next level, I
But
agree. Yeah,
this is the job, the biggest international job, arguably in the world, the one with has the most money, all of that. Doing just okay is the expectation that a lot of fans have. I'm getting reminded of the tweet that somebody shared on the group. It was Oliver Holt. He was saying something like, "Oh, we are so entitled. We don't know what we're saying. Nobody except one of the like." He quoted, "Nobody except Alf Ramsey has a better record than Gareth Southgate." I mean, who the fuck is Alf Ramsey? That's the standard. That's the level at which you want to be measured at. Like we have people like the Brazil manager having probably got a lot of plaudits for his management of the team and the style of play and all that. He's stepping down. The Portugal manager, who probably is less likely to win the World Cup than England, he's stepping down after not having it done. I think the level of expectation and the acceptance of mediocrity is so different in England versus any other country. I mean,
I,
if you
I
are
I
happy
don't
to.
think I don't think it's the level of I don't think it's that the level of expectation is lower. Of course, Gareth Southgate got them to the finals of the Euros, right? So that would have only just made the expectations mm, you know, even more, if anything. Uh, what you could see is that England is a strong team. They played well against France. They could have won the Euros as well. They were probably a few penalties away from winning it. So those are the kind of things that you haven't seen from previously well-established managers like Sven Goran or Fabio Capello. So my argument is, I'm not a Gareth Southgate fan as such, but my argument is, if there is a good manager out there, yeah, go for him. But like, don't sack the manager just because he did not re- make England reach the finals or win the World Cup.
This is the when you said that it could have been and should have been and all that reminded me of that Lampard versus Germany, the ball falling on the other side of the line whole argument. Like people still make the argument that England could have done anything in that game and they got their ass handed to them by Germany. I mean, we can say the same thing about every opponent that France has played. That's kind of the style that France also adopts in the World Cup. So all the games that they won in the lead up to this game, all the other teams could actually walk away thinking, "Oh shit, given a few good moments, I could have won this game." But it's for me that what if has been going on for too long. And I know what you're saying. Like, okay, if there is a guy, then go get him. But this is the kind of job that people make themselves available for. Like, I think there's a very good chance that whoever they target will say yes to this job. So just go out and get that guy. But Gareth Southgate, for me, the likes of Gareth Southgate, Roy Hodgson should never be anywhere near this job.
Guys, but the main thing to consider is there's never been a foreign manager and never been a foreign manager who has won the World Cup. So, and the reason for that is you don't really get time to build tactics, etc. It's more about man management and all those things as well. I think count for more. Gareth Southgate, I think we have given him a bit less credit than he deserves, probably in the sense that England have performed well, and most of the managers who win in international football are pragmatic. But having said that, nationality, it's a jinx which will be broken one day, right? So I think you should still look for the best available manager out there if it makes sense. And I think someone like Jose Mourinho would probably make a lot of sense for England. And Southgate, I think, has brought England as far as he can. He's not really going to, for me, he's not going to improve England any further from this. And like I am serious about this. If England get a chance to sign Graham Potter for the next couple of tournaments, they should jump at it. But they shouldn't go English just for the sake of it.
Yeah, exactly my thoughts. And finally, I think final word before we wrap up, just in one word, who's winning the World Cup?
Has to be
Messi.
France and Mbappe.
Going to go with France, I think. Yeah, France.
And it's Messi for Ashwin. Okay, I will go for France as well. So 3-1 for the panel today.
And that's the score line as well.
Probably. And we'll see you on Sunday or Monday, listener, with the follow up of all that happens on Saturday and Sunday. For now, see you later. Bye.